So, panel, huh? The topic for today is basically contribution of cement industry to waste security, circularity, and CCUS, carbon capture, utilization, and storage. So the idea is that Wolfgang will give a really quick update on status of the recognition of the material component of alternative fuels in the waste circularity factors on the national and EU level. A few minutes, and then we have basically 2 questions per panelist. We will do one round, one after the other, with prepared questions. So basically, maybe 3 minutes for the answer, one panelist after the other, just to do a little bit of ice breaking. Maybe it's already broken, but yeah, breaking doesn't hurt. So, and then there's a second round of questions, and then we would basically take all the question, comments, ideas from the audience, and also do kind of 3 minutes, because we have around 40 minutes left. So we're gonna have as panel participants Matthias Egarter, still participating. Then Matthias Greuer, who is the managing director at Baufeld Austria. Stefan Tollinger, who is the CEO at PreZero Austria. Robert Uweg is the alternative fuels and raw materials manager for Central Eastern Europe division at Danutchem. This is a CRH company. And then Sergio Cuadrado Iglesias from Office Cement is the manager of the Industrial Environment and Climate Change Department of Office Cement, Spanish cement industry. And yeah, Wolfgang, do you want to start with a short comment?
Certainly, yeah. Actually, in this roundtable, we have 2 focuses. One is this material component of alternative fuels in cement plants, and the recognition by the European Commission, the European Union, of this contribution to the waste circularity index and ratio out of the cement industry. And the other topic here that was planned was to talk about CCUS. And there we have a little change in the program, as some of the people are only present here in our events on 14th of October. And at this point, I already would like to highlight one presentation, which is coming from the managing director of the VDZ, the German Cement Association, on the 14th of October, about the status of carbon capture, utilization, and storage, and what especially requirements are to be foreseen for infrastructure changes, which is mainly how to store CO2 and where to store CO2, and also the transportation and the technology of transporting CO2. Those are the issues, but we are not addressing this today. But we do have a person, Robert Uweg, who is volunteering to tell us a little bit about the CCUS status at CRH, one of the most globally operating cement producers we have in the world. Would you be ready, Robert, to give us an overview for the CCUS status and requirements and outlook at CRH? Or should I start with an introduction to the benefits of the recycling index, what we have on the screen now? Benefits of the recycling index for co-processing of SRF for industry, environment, society. Robert, would you like to go?
Yeah, I mean, it's 2 different topics, but at the same time linked together, yeah? Carbon capture, CO2 reduction, and alternative fuels. I mean, it's up to you. Which would you prefer?
Yeah, if you can start with this, then we have the other people more concentrated on this second topic. We hear the aspect, which is very interesting, of course, how CRH sees this topic at the moment.
Yes, I mean, I'm responsible for alternative fuels in the CRH group in Eastern Europe, part of the division of the group. I'm actually, I wanted to say something about this CO2 reduction targets and CO2 capture, because this is, as you mentioned, this will be a topic as well, and it's a kind of appetizer, yes, for the discussion. So in CRH, we have also implemented our roadmap how to deliver the low carbon products. and solutions to the market today. But deploying the known solutions to reduce the CO2 emissions and to reach our ambition to be net zero business in 2050, like other industries and other industry player. In regards to this target, our ambition in our group to reach the 520 kilogram CO2 emissions per ton of cementitious product. But I think these future focused technologies such as carbon capture and storage are just an opportunity to abate the emissions which cannot be eliminated by other levers. So this is where the first and key priority is dedicated for alternative fuels, because that's the interest of the industry and also CRH. That will be the main focus. But of course, with only with alternative fuels, we cannot solve the net zero. I mean, being CO2 neutral until 2050. How we see at the moment the environment where we have to working in it, that the political consensus is a favor for such projects, but the environmental is not mature yet for such investments. Why I'm saying so that because however we have seen in the previous presentation that the CBAM rules are elaborated, but the application is just started to apply the regulations, yes, from this year. And secondly, the regulation is in place for storage and transport and utilization of CO2, but the permitting process is very, very long and that has a really risky aspects of the investments in terms of the transport. Just considering that in some cases this pipeline for the CO2 is crossing several countries. So in each country you have to do the permitting, which is very risky. So the third aspect is that the public funds are already and existing for such a capex and opex cost, but these do not cover the real cost difference between the ETS price and the additional cost of the decarbonization, what we have to do. So that's the most important part of the funding to cover such a cost. Idea is there, but real facts are not existing. And last but not least, the demand for low carbon products is not clear from the construction and building market. But also the public acceptance should be increased to be having cost efficient with these CCUS technologies. So this remains a challenge, but it takes time to do it. How we stand? Actually, we have two important projects are in Europe, which is approved. One of them is in France, another one in the UK. Both of them are dedicated for utilization of the CO2, not just for the storage. But of course, it's up to the cooperation with the company which is further treating the CO2 for any products. Discussions in our region in Romania, in terms of Romania, we have a discussion with the authorities and potential operators for storage in the Black Sea. So our cement plant is located very close to the Black Sea. This gives the opportunity to go further. So this is just existing in Romania on a theoretical base, but further discussions will come in these matters.
Yeah, thank you very much, Robert, for this overview about this challenging topic for the cement industry and any other CO2 producing industry, steel, etc. The infrastructure environment is very important to solve the question, and also the financials that are not solved. And last but not least, as you mentioned, very importantly, that customers should buy CO2 low CO2 cements.
Yes.
Which, exactly in public procurement plays a role in infrastructure projects where this should be a requirement if we want to get this going. Yeah, thank you very much. Is there any input from the audience to the topic of CCUS, additional to what we heard from CRH, or any questions, maybe additional questions to Robert here? If not, I would go ahead and give a little overview about where we stand with this implementation of ISO 4349. And we have some participants in the audience, like Sergio Cuadrado from the Spanish cement industry, who can give an overview what the status is about this topic in Spain. But first of all, I would suggest that we bring to the same level the audience that we have been discussing throughout the last 2 years. Actually, the main topic in the context of this was that we had an announcement of this ISO standard 4349, actually exactly more or less 2 years ago in May 2024 in this environment, in these events. And in the meanwhile, this is established calculation formula. It's called the R index, what we have here. It is the method of calculating the share of SRF, solid recovered fuel, that is recycled on a material level, expressed as a mass fraction in percent of the dry matter. I don't want to go into the detail, so go to the next slide here. In the preparation of this index, where many institutions have been involved, but especially also the University of Leoben. And with the University of Leoben, last year we created a position paper. This position paper about the topic would be available if you send us an email. You can get access to this position paper. What we have here is a presentation about the topic, which has been given in our last event in last year in November. This is free of charge. You also can have these slides. But maybe Mario, stop at this slide here, and one before, if you do so. Yeah, and just to highlight, there is two basics. One in this creating the methodology of measuring the R index was with 4 oxides in the primary and secondary fuels, and the other one with 9 oxides. And the result is 13.5% in one case and 16% in the other case can be used or can be named as recycled materials. And that's quite a high number, which yields to the fact, and I come to this later, that this is a good idea to put this into consideration of acknowledging it and in the waste circularity efforts of the European Union. Yeah, let's go to the slide after this slide, Marius, and again the next one. So here is the legal background, and actually the EU legislation already found, and I'm reading this to you, by 31st December 2028, they are planning to review this topic. To that end, the Commission shall submit a report to the European Parliament and to the Council, accompanied, if appropriate, by a legislative proposal. And to the essence, the Commission shall assess co-processing technology that allows the incorporation of minerals in the co-incineration process of municipal waste. Where a reliable methodology can be found as part of this review, the Commission shall consider whether such may be counted towards recycling. So there is still the open question whether the EU recognizes this effort of getting the material component of alternative fuels in co-processing acknowledged in their waste circularity recording. And therefore, we have started this initiative together with the University of Leoben and quite a number of stakeholders to get this done. And the feedback from the European Commission is that they have changed their responsibilities, and there is a new guy, François Wackenhut, responsible for these topics, and he will join us on our event in November about waste circularity, the second event in this year, actually taking place on the 25th of November. So please make a note and make sure that you register for this next event. So let us go to the next slide, just to summarize this. Yeah, and actually we can also go to the next slide. Go to the next slide, please. So there is some positive things about this ISO standard. This ISO standard is the prerequisite of getting this recognition of material component done. And the next slide shows us a example, the quantification. So here is a cement plant with assumed 1 million ton of clinker production per year, and with the assumption that, and this is the target of the Cement Europe organization, that 60% achievement of thermal substitution rate, we would, and also a average heating value, Marius, of 17 gigajoule per ton. This would result in 120,000 tons to 130,000 tons per year of alternative fuels in co-processing in this 1 million ton per year clinker plant. And the pretty positive outcome is that the recycled material, which will help waste circularity in co-processing, is 10,000 to 20,000 tons for this plant. And I have made a calculation with the information that in the EU 27, the production rate of clinker in last year was around 160 million tons. That would result, according to this calculation for the reference plant here, if we use this as a basis and multiply the numbers, then we arrive at 2.4 million tons of recycled material per year coming from the European cement industry. And that's quite an important number, and should really help to get this into the directives and legislation of the European Union. Let's go to the next slide, and the last slide of this, I think. Yeah, no, this is not necessary. Let's go one more. And here you see the benefits for stakeholders. They are summarized here. There is a benefit for circular economy integration. This index, this ISO index, R index, enables the recognition of co-processing, and there is also industrial and technical benefits. It's an innovation driver. The quantification of material recovery encourages the development of mechanical waste treatment, and this should be in the interest of Lindner, our guest here today, and SRF production technology, improving fuel quality and consistency. And the last slide shows some benefits for stakeholders. So everybody involved in this waste circularity process should be interested. Packaging, material industry, extended producer responsibility, EPR schemes and systems. Member states, municipalities, and waste management. At this point, I would like to mention that the Austrian ministry and government responsible for these topics waste have been promoting the introduction of this R index and ISO 4349 standard from the beginning. And we hope to get more support from other countries, especially the large ones in Europe, like Italy, Romania, Poland, Germany, Netherlands, and the rest of it. Yeah, this is the overview, and now we would like to come to some discussion with the panelists and the audience, and let's switch to this part. Ingo, can you help with starting the discussion?
So basically, we would start with Matthias Greuer. First question. When we talk about the use of alternative fuels for application at the incineration process, is the cement plant the better waste incineration plant because of its recycling index? Is there fundamental competition about high quality fuels between cement industry and the classical municipal or other waste to energy plants? That would be the question.
Yeah, thank you, Ingo. Based on my function, I have to say yes. Of course, the cement plants are the better incineration solution. No, but without joking, I would like to base my answer on the European waste hierarchy, which clearly says recycling before recovery and disposal. And based on the recycling index, we can say that we have recycling when using SRF in cement industry. So there's an advantage. Is there a strong competition between classical waste incineration or cement industry? I would say as long as we are talking about non-dangerous solid waste, I would tend to say no, not really, because we are targeting different qualities usually. So in cement industry, we are talking about calorific values, which are usually higher, while classical waste incinerators are looking for calorific values around 10 to 12 megajoule. In order to keep their throughput in the procedure or in their processes high. So in our markets, we don't feel a big competition at the moment. Of course, limited to non-dangerous and solid waste.
Yeah, super. Cool. Next question to Signore Quadrado. There's an example in Spain, in Spanish legal regulation for material recovery recognition at the end of life for tire usage in cement kilns.
Yes.
Can you expand a little bit on this?
Yes. Can you hear me well?
Yeah, yes. We hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So good morning, everyone, and thank you thank you for the invitation. As you have mentioned, my name is Sergio Cuadrado, and I work at weTHINK, the Spanish Cement Association, and I mainly focus on climate change and also circular economy. Those subjects that are very linked, if I may say. And as today's discussion is also about RDF and SRF, but to make it clear from the beginning, what I'm talking about is a new royal decree that has been published in Spain that is only focused on end-of-life tires, ELTs. It does not cover RDF, SRF, or any other alternative fuels. So it's to make it clear from the beginning. But we think that is still relevant to talk about this new Spanish normative because for the wider co-processing debate, because it gives, at least here in Spain, is the first legal recognition to material recovery in a clinker kiln. So the key point is that the decree refers directly to cement plants and clinker. And they recognize when this piece of legislation recognizes that when an end-of-life tire is used in cement kilns, the steel and other inorganic components that do not burn in the kiln and that become part of the clinker can be counted as material recovery. This is important because it gives legal recognition to a technical reality of co-processing. In cement kilns, as this is established in a normative for the first time, end-of-life tires are not only used as alternative fuels, but also raw material from the clinker production. As you know, part of the tire is also recovered as material. Okay, that's you know. This is important for reporting because these quantities can be counted when checking the compliance with ELT recycling and material recovery targets. So not the whole amount of ELT burned in a clinker kiln is counted as energy recovery, but there is a part that is counted as material recovery. Which amount was okay according to technical studies using by the cement sector in Spain, not only the sector that the recoverers of ELTs also use this percentage. We calculate that around the 25% of an end of life tire with a steel can be considered as material recovery in a clinker kiln. If you remove the steel from the tire, the contribution is around 8%. So from a technical point of view, the kiln provides a double contribution: energy recovery and material recovery, something that has been requested by not only the Spanish cement sector but the European cement sector to recognize this co-process process in our kilns. And this is also linked, as I mentioned before, linked to the decarbonization because ELTs replace part of the fossil fuels. And as you know, they have their mineral content is recovered in clinker. And energy recovery, what I want to say is, yes, energy recovery is, and for this reason, we need clear calculation rules linking to the R index that I think that Wolfgang has mentioned before. So we have proposed to the Spanish authorities to use a fixed factor for this end of life tires. So material recovery in clinker can be calculated in a very simple and consistent way. And beyond this use of end of life tires, the official request from the Spanish cement sector is to extend this same logic for other alternative fuels in the future, including RDF and SRF, using this R index methodology that you have mentioned before. So the conclusion is simple. Spain has taken a positive first step. Right now it's limited for the ELTs, but we expect that in a near future will cover other alternative waste used in the sector. And for me, that is all I want to say.
Super.
I'll stop here, and I'll be happy to answer any question if you have any, in case you have any.
Super, yeah. Questions, Marius will remind me because I don't see the screen. Yeah, Wolfgang?
Yes, I would like, thank you very much, Sergio, for this detailed situation. And I think it's a very, we can congratulate you for this recognition of the tire material component already. Yeah? So that's a showcase, I would say. But may I ask you, do you also already get the support from your national government to promote this extension to material component recognition to SRF, RDF, and other?
Not yet.
Yeah.
We have official ask for this recognition to the other waste streams, but we have not a clear answer yet. But on the other hand, I can tell you that we, as a sector, report different KPIs related to circular economy, and we have included this material recovery taken in account or counting not only the ELTs but the rest of alternative fuels that we know that we have co-processing in our kilns.
Oh, yeah.
But there is no official recognition for the other waste.
Yes, I'm asking this because I mentioned Austria is promoting this on a government level and really was part of the initiation of this R index. But in our discussions about what should be the next steps here, we found out that companies like Germany, Netherlands, and Belgium are a little bit opposing this idea of the European cement industry. And this is coming from the lobby of the incineration plants, as we understand. Yeah,
I guess.
and that's, this is really a strong barrier. Yeah, so we trying to get support from all sides. Yeah, especially for instance, the plastics industry and the packaging industry. And also of different governments like Spain or other large countries like Poland and Romania to get this support, and go to the next steps. Yeah, as I mentioned, there is a time limit. 2028 is the target of the European Commission to either say yes or no for this request. Yeah.
Yes. What I can tell you that is we as a sector we are continue pushing for this this recognition to the rest of alternative fuels.
Great. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And Ingo, can we go to the next participants that are here? Yeah, I know that Stefan Dollinger is not here from PreZero, but I can tell the story about PreZero. PreZero is a daughter company of Lidl that is acting as a waste processor and is also gave us their support. And actually, we have a meeting with the German expert of PreZero on the topic of SRF, RDF next week, and he will also continue. He will also participate in our November meeting. So that is simply postponed. Yeah, but we do have a feedback also from Thomas Glorius, whose assistant is here. Jayasura Chalagundla, are you here? Yeah, I can see your name here, but you're muted. But we got from Thomas Glorius, who is with Raymond is responsible for this topic, alternative fuels. We got a statement about this topic, and this is a very positive statement as Raymondis, and please correct me, Jayasura, you are part of Rewe Group. Is this correct?
It's part of Redmond Group.
Redmond, okay.
Redmond.
Redmond. Wolfgang, we have two more questions. Maybe we do them.
Yeah, so I just want to tell you, the audience, that your company, Remondis, is already using this ISO 4349 standard, yeah, in the process of preparing SRF material for the cement industry. So thank you for that statement, and let's go to the next.
I want to quickly ask Robert Ueck, how do carbon capture initiatives contribute to CO2 reduction objectives at CRH Group in Europe?
This was already answered. I mean, it was the first.
Very good.
No,
that's answered again. Okay. Any other statements you want to make?
Yes, it was a test, Ingo.
If everybody is paying attention there. Any other statements you want to make, Robert? Since
actually, it's
very knowledgeable.
Also, yeah, actually, this SRF recycling index is a hot topic also in CRH in our group. We are checking that which countries are relevant to apply this regulation. But as Wolfgang said, the most advanced negotiations and trials are in Austria. So let's see how the things will go, and we also would like to use the experiences which is gained there.
Super.
Yeah.
Cool. I would have another question for Matthias. What is the number? What is the one number you would like your audience to remember after this event?
Matthias Egarter.
I was just wondering which Matthias, yeah.
Yeah. Too many Matthiases here.
Maybe I wanted to add that during the presentation from
both
Dr.
Matthiases can answer.
Maybe the number is 20 million. You know, I mean, all the substitution rates, they change annually and they are different depending on which data source you look. But I think what is neat, that is why I like this topic so much. When you showed the calculation with this reference plant for 1 million tons per year of clinker, that is exactly the same calculation I had when I was saying that the average cost saving by replacing coal to RDF and then co-processing is and thus having 100% recycling quota is 80 million. So if we round that up to 20 million, which is easy to remember, that is the let's say annual saving that the typical cement plant or a reference plant at 1 million tons per year can save a year. So I think that is an interesting number, and that is for me the game changer, because this financial business case is so solid that it does and enables that recycling becomes not a green topic, you know, that is maybe viewed as somewhat esoteric, but just business, and thus we can combine the best of both worlds, doing something good for the climate and for energy consumption and for the business.
Good. Matthias, you want to answer the same? Matthias Goya, you want to answer the same question? It's nice. What number do you want the audience to remember after this event?
Yeah, good question. Thank you, Ingo.
We could ask this to everybody. It's actually a really good question.
Maybe I have a few numbers in mind, which are impressive, and these are figures from the Austrian Commerce Chamber. So circular economy is a strong driver of economy, and I think only in Austria. Sorry, these are 3 figures, but these are relevant, I think. In recycling, I think more than 3,000 organizations are involved in Austria only, with more than 30,000 employees and around about 9 billion euros of financial value. So this is quite a figure and shows that fundamental circular economy is not just greenwashing; it's a real business. And I think this also adds to the message from Mr. Egata.
Yeah, maybe another question to Matthias Egata. Lindner Recycling Tech is often called one of the global technology leaders for RDF SRF. Can you tell us what is behind this claim?
Well, the claim behind this, I think that we have been one of the early adopters, or we were lucky enough to really be a supplier of choice for one of the very first plants across Europe. So, for example, the plant in Reznay from Lafarge and Thermoteam is cited quite often in the literature. So we have been able to supply this plant with the technology already in the 90s when this topic of RDF and SRF started. And over the time, we have been, we had the pleasure to develop further this technology and thus gain insights in terms of processing of waste across the globe. So I would say, of course, there are a few other companies that are claiming they can do the same, but only if you look to our secondary shredder, which is the Comet. We have sold it more than 1,200 times to plants processing RDF and SRF, also in the highest quality across the globe. So we can draw upon the data from all these reference installations, and we are collecting them where we're allowed to in real time to feedback, to learn, and thus to make sure we can drive down the capex for such a plant, but also the operational costs. And we're having many projects together with reference customers to do exactly that, not just to sell some machines, but really to develop the know-how and then also give this know-how to our customers, how to operate such a plant in the most meaningful way.
Thanks. I think there's one question in the chat which I unfortunately don't see. Can you
Yes,
hear
it's
me there?
Mr. Juras.
I
correct.
disconnected my check over.
Yes, hi. I was
Hi, yeah,
just wondering if there is any country in Europe which is already applying the recycling index, a part of end-of-life tires, like under the radar, because I heard something about Portugal, but I'm not really sure. Do you have any more information on this?
Yeah, you're from Ecorec. Which country are you from?
Central Europe. So we are covering operations mainly in Slovakia, but having supplying the plants in Germany and Switzerland as well.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there is exactly, for instance, a company, Remondis, who is supplying SRF fuels to the cement industry. And we got this statement from Thomas Glorius, who is responsible for these alternative fuels. His assistant, Jula Chalagundla, is here, but we can read now. Marius has translated this statement from Thomas Glorius, who is already successfully using this standard. And maybe Ingo, you can read it because I don't find it.
Yeah, Thomas Glorius, head of Department of Material Flow Management of Remondis, I think. Yeah, alternative recovery processes. So he's the standard for determining the recycling index is used by the BGS, and both BGS and Remondis contributed to the development of the standard. Relevant data on the RAL, quality assured secondary fuels from Remondis Rhineland, were included in the process. The significance of ISO 4349 will depend on the environmental policy recognition of the CO co-processing and the corresponding interest from the cement industry.
Yeah, so that's the statement.
Oh, that helps. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
that's the statement. Yeah.
And that's what we can provide. I mean, this is in the directives of the Austrian Ministry for the Environment. So that seems to be the most advanced, yeah. And it's no surprise because they have promoted this from the very beginning. And we had already a presentation last year from the responsible person in this ministry is Mr. Helmut Grech, who actively participated in this, like Remondis and like the University of Leoben and like Holcim, the company, and Christian Lamper from Holcim, who is now a managing director of the Kirchhoff plant and also of Techno Team, which is a cooperation between Saubermacher and Holcim, contributed to the construction of this index of this standard. Yeah, so that's more or less all I know at the moment, and we are heavily trying to get more countries into that and more companies on the waste management side and SRF producer side. So hopefully this helps this answer. But we do have people from Portugal, but I'm not sure whether they are involved in this SRF business. There's at least 2 participants in this audience today from Portugal. So maybe somebody can answer whether there is any input from Portugal possible on this topic.
Yeah, and maybe it would be interesting to asking the European Commission position on it. Yes, that how to what is their position to implement it or to have a regulation on that.
Yes.
I know that we have planned invite official from the European Commission, but maybe on the next meeting we will have an opportunity to invite somebody who can reflect on it.
Robert, yeah, thank you for the question. I have shortly mentioned this topic. We have invited the European Commission, as we always do for all our events, but this time they said they were too busy to finish up their Circular Economy Act directives, etc., which will be finished in the 3rd quarter, so coming soon. And the new responsible manager, François Wackenhut, this is the new guy in charge, has more or less committed to participate in our 24th of November event, online event, with the latest news from the European Commission about these and other topics in waste circularity. Yeah. François Wackenhut is the name to be recorded. Yeah.
Yeah, super.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're coming to the end, more or less. Any last questions? Urgent ones you want to say? So yeah, then basically,
Maybe one
thank
thing,
you, Marius.
there is
Sponsors.
several participants from Hungary here. Maybe some of you, and one of them is from the cement plant, I think, could tell us something about perspectives of Hungary in this topic of alternative fuels and SRF usage in your plants.
Yes, so of course. Thank you for the possibility. So in Hungary, general, we are suffering with using secondary fuels, especially because the landfill costs are so low that the Hungarian waste handling coordinator, Mohu, tells for us that it makes sense not to produce SRF because landfill is cheaper than using or producing secondary fuels. So we are currently in a quite sensitive period because just now the secondary or the cement production starts to recover. So we can produce in Hungary competitive the cement compared to the import facilities, because in the past we had so much extra fees to pay to the Hungarian state that we were in Hungary not competitive to the import cement. So we had a big disadvantage because of lots of fees. So, but these are away. We are working just now according the European legal framework, so we can produce cement, and we face the possibility that the situation that we have not enough secondary fuel in Hungary, and it is quite problematic for us. Because if we have to compete with Austrian or Slovakian cement plants who can import secondary fuels from abroad or have high landfill fees and can earn lots of money by using secondary fuels, then we have a really higher cost in average. On the other hand, we have a quite modern cement plant, and we could have a similar secondary fuel rate than the Austrian or the Polish cement factories. I think that's all from my side.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you very
super.
much.
Thank you very much. So wonderful. Thanks very much for this event.